LangGraph, CrewAI, or AutoGen. Choosing a multi-agent AI framework feels incredibly confusing right now, doesn't it? What if I told you that most tech teams are picking their framework for the wrong reasons? They're choosing based on hype, not on architecture. They're picking the most popular tool, not the right tool for their specific problem. This mistake can cost weeks of engineering time and kill a project before it even starts. If you are a software engineer, a product manager, or even a CTO, you've probably asked yourself, which of these frameworks should my team actually learn and use? The answer isn't as simple as this one is. The best, the truth is, each of these frameworks is designed for a very different type of problem. One is built for predictable, stateful workflows like a well organized factory line. Another is built for creative, hierarchical teams like a marketing agency. And the third is built for flexible, conversational research like a group of university professors. In this video, I'm not just going to show you a feature comparison table. I'm going to give you the mental model, the architectural understanding to make the right decision for your specific situation. By the end of this, you will have a crystal clear decision framework. You will know exactly when to use LangGraph, when to choose CrewAI, and when AutoGen is the perfect fit. Let's simplify the complexity. This confusion is a massive problem in the industry right now, and it's not just you. It's a trap that countless tech teams are falling into. Think about it. You open your feed and you see a demo of AutoGen creating conversational agents that chat with each other. It looks like magic. The next day, you see a slick diagram from a CrewAI workflow showing a hierarchical team of agents writing a marketing report. Impressive. Then someone you respect posts a complex graph built in LangGraph, praising its control and predictability. You are left feeling overwhelmed with a serious case of analysis paralysis. It feels like you are standing in front of three doors, and the success of your next big AI project depends on picking the right one. But the signs on the doors are written in a language you don't quite understand yet. This isn't just a developer problem. If you're a product manager, you're trying to figure out what's even possible to build. If you're in QA, you're wondering how on earth you're supposed to test these non deterministic systems. And if you're a tech lead or CTO, you're responsible for a strategic bet that could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in engineering time if you get it wrong. Let me tell you a quick story about a team I advised a few months ago. They were a sharp, fast moving startup trying to build an automated financial analysis tool. The goal was simple: take a company's annual report and have a team of AI agents generate a detailed investment summary. They saw all the hype around AutoGen and its powerful, flexible conversation models. It seemed perfect for a research task, so they jumped in. For 6 weeks, their best engineers wrestled with it. They tried to force a structured, step by step financial analysis process into AutoGen's free flowing, chat based architecture. The result was chaos. Sometimes the agents would get stuck in a loop, endlessly debating the definition of a beta. Other times, they would just stop, providing no output at all. The system was unpredictable, impossible to debug, and completely unsuitable for a production environment that required reliability. After nearly 2 months of wasted effort, they had to scrap the entire project and start over. Their mistake? They chose the framework based on its popularity, not its underlying architecture. They chose the cool new thing without asking if it was the right thing for their specific stateful workflow. And this team is not alone. A recent industry report I read estimated that nearly 70% of initial multi agent projects face significant delays or outright failure. The number one reason cited wasn't a lack of engineering talent, it was a fundamental mismatch between the problem and the chosen framework. We're talking about weeks, even months of lost productivity. We're talking about brilliant engineers growing frustrated and business leaders losing faith in AI's potential. The consequence of getting this decision wrong is severe. Your team builds a system that you can't rely on. Your product launch gets delayed. Your competitors who made a more informed architectural choice pull ahead, and you're left with a complex, brittle code base that nobody wants to maintain. This isn't just about picking a library, it's about laying the foundation for your entire AI strategy. Choosing the wrong framework is like trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation made for a single family home. It doesn't matter how skilled your builders are, the project is doomed from the start. So, if you've been feeling that pressure, that fear of making the wrong bet, I want you to know that it's completely valid. But the solution isn't to read more blog posts or watch more flashy demos. The solution is to go one level deeper and understand the fundamental design philosophy behind each of these powerful tools. So, how do we escape this trap? How do we avoid becoming another statistic, another team that wasted months on the wrong foundation? The solution isn't to pick a winner. The solution is to change the way you think, is to adopt what I call the architectural mindset. This is the mental model that shifts your focus from which framework is most popular to which architecture best matches the job I need to do. Once you make this shift, the confusion evaporates and the right choice becomes incredibly clear. To help you build this mindset, I want you to forget the code for a moment and think about three different types of organizations in the real world: a car factory, a marketing agency, and a university research lab. First, imagine a car factory. What is its defining characteristic? It's a highly structured, predictable, and stateful process. A car chassis enters one end, moves through a series of specific stations: welding, painting, engine installation, and a finished car comes out the other. Every step is defined. If a problem occurs, the car can be sent back to a previous station. The entire system is a graph of states and transitions. This, in essence, is the architectural philosophy of LangGraph. LangGraph is your car factory. It's designed for building stateful multi agent workflows where you need explicit control over the process. It treats agents as nodes in a graph, and you have complete power to define the cycles, the branches, and the flow of information. If your problem requires reliability, predictability, and the ability to handle complex cyclical processes, you need a factory, you need LangGraph. Next, imagine a marketing agency hired to create a new ad campaign. There's a clear hierarchy and processes. The client gives a brief to the account manager. The manager delegates tasks: one person for market research, a copywriter for the slogan, and a designer for the visuals. They work on their parts, report back, and the manager assembles the final campaign. It's a role based, process oriented system with a clear start and finish. This is the philosophy of CrewAI. CrewAI is your marketing agency. It excels at creating hierarchical teams of agents with specific roles and responsibilities. You define the crew, you give them their roles, you set the process, and they execute the task from start to finish. If your problem is best solved by a team of specialists working together under a defined process to produce a specific deliverable, you need an agency. You need CrewAI. Finally, think of a university research lab where a group of professors are trying to solve a complex open ended problem. There isn't a fixed process. They gather in a room, they talk, they debate, they share ideas, and they explore different paths together. The conversation itself drives the discovery. One professor might propose a theory, another might challenge it, and a third might run a quick simulation. The solution emerges from this flexible multi agent conversation. This is the architectural philosophy of AutoGen. AutoGen is your research lab. It's designed to facilitate complex conversations between multiple agents. Its strength lies in its flexibility and its ability to let agents collaborate, negotiate, and solve problems in ways you might not have predicted. If your problem is exploratory, requires debate, or benefits from a free flowing conversation between multiple expert agents, you need a research lab. You need AutoGen, a factory, an agency, and a research lab. When you stop seeing these tools as just code libraries and start seeing them as distinct organizational structures, the paralysis disappears. The aha moment is realizing you don't have a framework problem, you have a job to be done problem. You just need to correctly identify what kind of job you're hiring for. The team that failed at building their financial analysis tool, they were trying to build a factory, a predictable, step by step process, but they chose a research lab. They needed LangGraph, but they picked AutoGen. This is the clarity that I want you to have. This is the mental model that will empower you, whether you are a developer writing the code, a PM defining the product, or a CTO making a strategic bet. Understanding this architectural difference is your superpower. It's what will allow your team to move faster, build more reliable AI systems, and avoid the costly mistakes that are sinking so many other projects right now. You now have the fundamental framework for making the right choice. Okay, so you have the mental model, the factory for predictable workflows, the agency for role based tasks, and the research lab for open ended collaboration. This clarity is the first major step, but knowledge is useless without action. The most common question I get at this point is, great, I get the theory, but how do I actually apply this tomorrow morning in my team's stand up meeting? Let's bridge that gap right now. Getting started doesn't begin in your code editor, it begins with a simple document. Before you even think about which library to install, I want you to write a one page job description for your multi agent system. This is the single most effective exercise to force clarity. Ask yourself three questions. First, is the outcome a single high quality artifact like a report or a piece of code? If yes, you are likely hiring a marketing agency, which points to CrewAI. Second, is the outcome a reliable, repeatable process that needs to handle many different states and potential loops like a customer support workflow? If yes, you are building a car factory, which points to LangGraph. Third, is the outcome an answer or a set of insights that emerges from debate and exploration? If yes, you're funding a research lab which points to AutoGen. This isn't just for developers. If you're a product manager, this job description becomes the core of your product requirements document for any AI feature. It forces you to define success in architectural terms. If you're a tech lead, this is your system design blueprint. You bring this one pager to your team to align everyone on the why before you even start discussing the how. Now, even with this clarity, there are common mistakes that trip up even the sharpest teams. The first is what I call the hybrid trap. You'll be tempted to say, well, my problem is kind of a factory, but also kind of a research lab. You'll try to mash the architectures together from day one. This is a recipe for disaster. It leads to a system that has the complexity of LangGraph without its reliability and the unpredictability of AutoGen without its flexibility. The rule is simple. Pick one primary architecture for your overall system. You can have a small research lab task that is managed by one of the factory workers, but the top level structure must be singular and clear. Choose your main operating model first. The second big mistake is underestimating the importance of state management. It's easy to get excited about the agents themselves, but the real complexity in these systems is in how information or state is passed between them. Crew AI and AutoGen handle a lot of this implicitly behind the scenes, which is great for simplicity. LangGraph, your factory, forces you to manage state explicitly. This is its superpower. If your problem requires you to know exactly what information each agent has at every single step, and you need the ability to easily rewind or modify that state, then LangGraph is almost always the right answer, even if the workflow seems simple. Don't choose a framework based on agent capabilities, choose it based on your need for control over the data flowing through the system. Finally, this all comes down to a crucial mindset shift. To build effective multi agent systems, you have to stop thinking like a programmer who is just writing code and start thinking like a CEO who is designing an organization. Your job is to hire digital employees, your agents, and put them into the most effective organizational structure to solve a business problem. Is your company a factory, an agency, or a research lab? When you frame the decision that way, you elevate the conversation from technical details to strategic design. This is the mindset that separates teams that build fragile demoware from teams that build robust, production ready AI systems. It's the shift that turns you from someone who uses AI frameworks into someone who architects AI solutions. So you've made the shift. You no longer see LangGraph, CrewAI, and AutoGen as a confusing list of options. You see them for what they are: a factory, an agency, and a research lab. You've moved beyond the hype and equipped yourself with a powerful architectural mindset. This is the framework that separates confused tech professionals from confident AI leaders. You now have the clarity to look at any problem and instantly know which organizational structure, which framework is the right fit. This is a massive step and it puts you ahead of the vast majority of people in the industry right now. But this understanding is just the foundation. Knowing the difference between a factory and a research lab is one thing. Designing the blueprint for one is the next critical step. That's why in the very next video, we're going to take this mental model and put it into practice. We'll walk through how to design your first multi-agent system on paper before you write a single line of code. We'll cover how to define your agent roles, map out the flow of information, and choose the right architecture for a real world business problem. It's the bridge from theory to execution. If you are serious about not just surviving but leading in this AI revolution, mastering this design process is non negotiable. This is how you transform from someone who simply uses AI tools into someone who architects AI solutions. So, click here to watch that next video. And if you want to accelerate this entire journey with hands on training, structured projects, and a community of peers, check out the AI Agents Bootcamp. The link is in the description. Real quick, I want to hear from you because your challenges shape what I create next. Drop a comment below and tell me two things. First, based on what you learned today, which model, factory, agency, or research lab best fits the project you're thinking about? And second, what's your single biggest challenge when it comes to building with AI agents? I read every single comment. Let's learn together.